All right, it's officially showtime. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a Sunday night edition of 27 Outs Live. I, of course, am Ivan, and as always, alongside my partner here, Stefan. It's been a busy week here for 27 Outs, I must say. For those of you who are familiar with the channel, obviously you know what Monday was. We came together to celebrate the 1 year anniversary. Shout out to you guys who stopped by, who watched it after the fact, or just anybody really who enjoyed that video. Period. I had a lot of fun that night. Then we came back a couple of days ago, Friday, and we did our typical second show. But Stefan and I, we came to the agreement that few things have been happening, especially when it comes to both New York teams, and we thought that it only made sense to dive into that here with you guys tonight. But before we get into that, Stefan, what's going on? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I just can't believe how much news can happen from when we left you guys last to where we are now. It's incredible to what I mean? Because we were literally see fourth wall time, right? We were debating on did we do this tonight? Because you texted me earlier this morning. I'm like, I don't know. Let's see where we at. Maybe I want to have later the Francisco Álvarez news comes out. So I was like, all right, we got to talk about this. That's important. The Gerrit Cole news is going to be due any day now. And quite frankly, I'm here to tell you we don't need no news to tell me what's about to happen. We're going to tell you what's about to happen on this show. So when the Gerrit Cole news breaks, you can come back to this show here and see, like, you know what? They told us what's about to happen a couple days ago. Because while there is no news officially from anybody, we know what's going down. So you ask me how I am. I'm very busy, but I'm very, very, very good. Um,
Do you want
what
to
a,
start there? Because I mean, you basically already got into it just a
I
bit,
mean, we can, but
right?
what a week for New York sports. Jalen Brunson's ankle looks grotesque. Uh,
Yeah, I
the
remember seeing that
Giants are
video.
about to sign Aaron Rodgers.
Oh boy, why?
The Jets don't know what the hell they're doing. The Mets, who knows? Anyway,
New York,
um,
New York isn't all that wonderful after all.
no, no, no.
Literally, like outside of the teams, but New York itself is kind of wild these days. But
So what I will tell you is the Gerrit Cole thing for me. We saw this. We made a video last year where we talked about could this be the beginning of the end of the Gerrit Cole dominance? Because we were a year to the day. If you look back on the video, we're a week to the day where he talked about his elbow was barking in spring training. He didn't feel the greatest. He was having trouble, rebounding after starts. And it seems like we're at this point again, but it seems this time this is much more severe. This is much more serious. Even for him to use the words, I'm concerned about what the results may tell me, that sent alarm bells off in my brain. And here's the other thing that I pay attention to when you're going for a second opinion and we don't even know what the first opinion is yet, that's not good.
right,
That's not good because what that shows me is there's something going on in the elbow that's not normal, that is not normal, and you're trying to either assuage the fears of the fan base, which I understand, or you're also trying to lie to yourself and say to yourself, psych yourself out, this really isn't that bad. But here's the thing I'll tell you. For a guy like Gerrit Cole, who's a master of his craft, he's meticulous, he knows his body perhaps better than any athlete knows theirs. For him to tell you, something ain't right, let's get this checked, let's go for a second, third opinion, that's not good. And I'm going to tell you right now, as far as Stefan is concerned, I'm not speaking for Ivan because it'd be irresponsible for me to do so. But as far as I am concerned, Gerrit Cole's 2025 and possibly 2026 season are in his 2025 season's over. If we're lucky, we'll see him in the middle of 2026. Because what this screams to me is, Tommy John, and we going to be out at least 12 months. While the Yankees are not going to confirm it, while he's not going to say anything about it, while Scott Boras is going to be numbs the word about it. You don't go for a second and third opinion if you don't think it's serious, bro.
Yeah, that's true. And
This
also
is
too, I know you had mentioned that, we did talk about something like this last season because it kind of feels like deja vu all over again, right? Especially if you're a Yankee fan. For those of you who remember, as Stefan mentioned, Gerrit Cole had an elbow issue last season, but he sounded way more confident, I must say, then as opposed to now. Whereas he's basically just putting it out there where, like, listen,
my
as
season's over.
Stefan mentioned, this could be it for me. But one other thing I do want to add on there is, listen, 34, it is what it is. But for a guy like Gerrit Cole, who has been dominant, I must say, for as
That's
long as he's been, there's
mm-hmm.
a lot of mileage on that arm, right? Let's remember the years that he's put in wearing the pinstripes, even going back to his days with the Astros
Astros,
and even the
Pittsburgh.
Pirates as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's been good for a long time now. And the fact that something like this has come up at his current age, it's unfortunate, right? Especially where you look at the Yankees core and him being right in the middle of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it was only a matter of time.
And you know what sucks? And because I feel for him, because Garrett is, he's a competitor. He's all those things. What it shows me, bro, is that he's a human being. And Father Time is undefeated, and Father Time is going to come for you at some point. It's how do you combat Father Time, and how do you combat the stresses of dealing with, this injury might be it. And I'm going to say something. His career is forever changed because how old is he? 34? He's going to be 35.
Right.
So he might not come back again until he's about 36 years old. And while he may still feel good, you don't get better at 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. You get older, you get slower, you get more injured, your body itself wears down. This is not the same thing. And while I'm trying to be optimistic for him, the reality of it is I'll be lying to you if I'm sitting here right now and I don't have a really strong fear that the ace Gerrit Cole that we once knew is no longer going to be that pitcher.
Oh
Does it
yes,
does
I
it
agree. I don't think he's gonna have those days. I mean, he might have flashes of it, from this point on, but to really sit here and expect him to, have 30 starts,
right?
have an ERA in the low threes, under threes, possibly
It's
200 plus innings pitched, as you continue to deal with injuries such as the one that he's dealing with now for 2 years essentially, at the age
no,
you're
yeah.
no longer able to do the things that you once did.
Nah, and the sad part is the sad part is the Yankees knew this and they re-upped with him anyway. Because I'm gonna say something that's a bit unpopular. If I was the Yankees, the moment he opted out, I'd have been like, all right, see you later, bro. You had 4 years, $144 million left, and you still opted out. So what that tells me is you called the Yankees bluff, and what the Yankees should have said to you was, yo, we know your arm better than you, and you're already showing signs of age. So peace. And I'm sorry this is gonna offend people, but quite frankly, we all big boys and girls, and we all need to put our big boy britches on at some point. I don't care how bad it hurts. I don't care how bad losing him hurts. Oh, he's a fan favorite. He's at this. He's at that. He don't care. At some point, you have to be cold, calculated, callous. It got to be about business. Can't be about who he loves, who he doesn't love, who he's a fan of. The Yankee organization can't be about Yankee today, tomorrow, forever. It got to be, yo, how much money you making? And you want to test me? Nah. Go out and find that deal somewhere else. You played games. And then the Yankees, like some little, I'm not going to use the word. They're like, oh, Garrett, come on back, Garrett. In Spanish, you know the word. You know the word. They acted like a bunch of pendejos. All right, come back, Garrett. We love you. Where's the love when he can't pitch for you for 2 years? And you're paying him $36 million. You look stupid in the face. I'd have said to him, all right, bro, opt out. Go ahead. Got time for this foolishness. You
That's
want
a
to
good
play
point,
big boy
especially
games?
if you're the Yankees, like you said, because you had already seen that he had an issue with the elbow last season.
Right.
Now he then wanted to play the funny game when it came to, well, let's see if I could get you guys to budge to possibly give me more. But thankfully that didn't end up happening. Of course, not so thankful for Gerrit Cole, but for the Yankees in this case. But yeah, yet another season of an elbow issue, man. Like
It's
it just makes, like, I know in the moment, Stefan, and I could admit it too. Like, often a lot of times teams like to keep certain players around for as long as they can, and I think the Yankees are probably going to end up with the short end of the stick when it
right.
came to agreeing to want to keep Gerrit Cole.
See, but here's my problem, right? My problem is you knew this and you still re-upped. You re-upped anyway?
Yeah, that's the problem. Right.
Why?
As if it wasn't going to come back.
My point is, yo, I don't care if this makes me cold. I don't care if this makes me callous. I don't care if this makes me a dick. I don't give a up. We here running charity or we here running a business? Because you know what you know what my thought process was? Yo, you know what, Garrett? You nice pitcher, but peace out, my boy. I could go pay Corbin Burns just a little bit more money, an extra year or two, and I got my ace for the next 5 to 7 years.
Right. And he's younger too.
You know what I mean? Like, by the way, if I didn't want to sign Corbin Burns, I could have traded for an ace, re-upped with him, and we'd have been all right. For me, the problem with the Yankees now, the Yankees are just worried about being the brand. The Yankees no longer care about putting sustainable championship teams on the field. If that offends you, I apologize, but I'm here to tell the truth. The reality of it is Gerrit Cole should not be wearing pinstripes today. He shouldn't, but he is. Don't make me get started on the idea that Giancarlo Stanton's career may be over. Because you hear this? Oh, my elbows are severe. Your elbow injuries are severe, and we're going for 3 PRP injections? What are we doing here, Yankees? Well, end this. End it. Tell him get the surgery. We'll see him next year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you know how it's going to end, Ivan? You know how it's going to end? You ready? They're going to end up cutting him anyway.
Most likely, yeah.
So why don't you tell him go away for a year, get the money back from insurance, right? Go spend that money somewhere else and be like, you know what? We could do something with this money. Because if I'm not mistaken, Giancarlo Stanton's making like anywhere between $23 to $25 million this year alone. You could get out of it. I ask again, bro, and I want your feedback on all this because I people think I'm crazy when I talk like this. What are we doing? Why are we here with both of these players? Why is this even a conversation that needs to be had at this point in time?
Right. So you just said something that I want to get into myself. What are we doing? Right. To add on to everything that you had just said, Stefan. And shout out to those of you who are watching here tonight with us. Make sure you guys go ahead, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. A lot of love on TikTok. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All three of those at 27 outs 3C. And for those of you who are new here, I'm Ivan, that's Stefan. This is 27 outs. Make sure you thumbs up the video and definitely subscribe if you're new here.
For sure.
So yeah, what are we doing, right? Or what are they doing? I should say rather. In the case of the Yankees, you got to be able to make the best out of what you have now that you are, I wouldn't say fully aware, but damn near aware of what could happen, especially with the Gerrit Cole news being something that could easily be worst case scenario for both Gerrit Cole and the Yankees, right? But I mean, what happens from here, right? Because one thing that you've mentioned, Stefan, they should have acquired the bat that was necessary. They haven't yet. So you already had that on your to-do list. And then now We find out about the Luis Heel news a few days ago, and then it's like, okay, well, they could deal with that. Now, just a few days later, you've got your workhorse who is probably not going to be that anymore moving forward now in his career. Probably going to be out for the entirety of the 2025 season if it is that bad. So then what happens?
I'll tell you what
happens. It sounds like a lot for them to do.
No, but see, here's what I don't understand. All right. Can we talk about this for a second? You telling me the Yankees didn't know nothing? You telling me the Yankees didn't have an idea that this guy was going to come in and his elbow was going to be a problem after missing half of the season last year, or at least a quarter of the season? You didn't think that this was going to rear its ugly head again, and you sat back and you did nothing when you had this is again, bro. I'm going to bring it back here, and I'm sorry to regurgitate this point, but this is important. This part you have to clip up for me, bro. Please. If you clip up anything from tonight's show, clip this. They knew he was going to opt out, and they let him come back anyway. And you knew his elbow was a problem. And you said, all right, you can come back. Listen, forget about being a Yankee fan for a second. Let's talk about the business. Let's get in Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman's collective brains. His elbow was a problem. And you still said, all right, come on back. How does that look? And that's a legitimate question, bro. They knew his elbow was a problem from spring training last year. Because it was 51 weeks to the day. We were talking about this. We even made a special video that we did pre-recorded. Remember when we used to do the pre-recorded? And we sat there and we said, yo, what does it look like for him next year, 2 years, 3 years down the line? We're a year out, and this guy might not pitch a full year and a half. So to act like this wasn't something you saw coming is ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. In his six seasons, because he's been in the big leagues 12 years, in 6 seasons, out of those 12, he's pitched 200 innings. And I believe he's gone over 180 innings 7 times. You know this was going to happen, and you let him stay anyway? For what?
Right.
I don't understand it. Now, you could tell me, well, you know, he wanted to be a Yankee. This is where he wanted to be. Then you know what? I'll let you opt out. We're going to renegotiate the deal, and we're going to give you 3 years at $90 million. But he wouldn't have taken the pay cut. No. And I also believe at that point, right? This is the other thing we got to remember, and I'm shutting up right now. You were also trying to renegotiate with Juan Soto to bring him back. Why is that important? Who's Juan Soto's agent? Scott Boras. Who represents Gerrit Cole? Scott Boras. So you didn't want to alienate Cole and Boras when you still had to do business with Juan Soto. Now, granted, Juan Soto left. He went to the Mets anyway, so it really didn't matter. But at the time, I remember thinking, you know what? The Yankees might have did Boras a favor and say, you know what? Let's appease Cole. Let's appease Scott. Let's get this. Let's not have this become a thing so that we have a better chance of signing Soto, because at least he knows the ace is in the fold. Garrett's happy. The Yankees didn't piss him off. So maybe we got a better shot with Soto. Now, you could say, well, that's comparing apples to oranges. But when you're dealing with the same dude that's the agent to both of these players, and you have both in your possession, you don't want to piss one off because it may make the other one look at you like, hold up. You just disregarded him like he was nothing, and you trying to re-sign me? How do you look? Am I off base in thinking that, brother? Because I just have to know your thoughts on this. Because
I actually wanted to comment on something that you had shared with me earlier today, but of course relates to everything that we're talking about right now with all of you guys here tonight. Mm-hmm. So Brian Cashman, he says that he is now. I'm probably thinking a little too deeply when it comes to this, and I'm usually not the kind of guy who does that.
Right.
But and you know, this is something that could be their season. Honestly, like I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if worst case scenario ends up coming out when it does finally come out,
Yep.
it could be exactly that. But Brian Cashman, he basically says that he's fully prepared for the worst. Right now, when I think of the word prepared to me, now this is where I think I could be thinking too much here. Prepared to me means that, okay, while the worst could happen, prepared to me means that you know what you are going to do next. Now, if not, I don't think the word prepared is the word that should have been used. You should have just said, well, I'm just expecting the worst at that case. Because I think if you're prepared, you have something planned, or at least are about to start gearing that up, I must say. You get my point?
So
but that's why I say I could be thinking too deeply, and the Yankees are probably like, you know what? Who the hell cares?
No.
The hell with 2025.
No, see, because we're parsing his words, and I'm glad that you did that. So when you took him to mean prepared, did you take him to mean that we have another pitcher or we have another player that we're going to bring in here to offset the loss of a Gerrit Cole? Is that what you're
not exactly, but close to it? The player, the type of player, yes.
So you're talking about on the pitching side, or you just mean overall?
No, just the pitching side.
Nah,
overall, that's why I mentioned the point of what you said, them needing a bat. So prior to this, all of this happening.
What I'm saying is, I think what he means by prepared, I think his way of combating this is going to get an extra bat. I don't think there's enough on the starting pitching market currently the way he can go out and pluck something out of thin air.
Not currently, just in general.
But all right, so in general, I don't believe they're going to trade for Dylan Cease with a half a year left on his deal. I don't think they're going to trade for Michael King with a half a year left on his deal. Do they do something for perhaps Luis Castillo, who they've had interest in before, who has 3 years left on his deal entering this season? Maybe. But the type of money or the type of cost it would take to land a player of that caliber, that would probably be a lot more than the Yankees are willing to give. So what I took him to mean by prepared is that, yes, we know he's not coming back. Yes, we're going to try and augment it with the players we have here in-house just in case. But if something does come my way, if a pitcher does become available, if the Padres do call me and say, yo, Dylan Cease is truly available, then, hey, you go after Dylan Cease. You see what other teams will be willing to offer if pitching really does become available. My argument is when you look at it from this perspective, I just don't believe that there's a pitcher out there that the Yankees can acquire that's going to offset his loss. So what I would do right now, and I'm going to keep harping on it till it's dead, there's one guy and one guy only that I'm going to get. His name is Carlos Correa to play third base. That is it. That is the only bat that I feel right now that is worth it. Nobody else out there, to me, changes the landscape of our lineup like he does. The Twins don't want to pay his cost. And this goes back to the original point of, if Giancarlo Stanton is done for the season, you can get insurance to pay Giancarlo's contract, and the money you were going to pay Stanton, you can use in a deal for Correa. This is how you got to get creative if you're Brian Cashman, because you realize it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to have to needle and thread this thing all the way through. It's a big injury. And
I like what you said, because it is something, right? And I don't want to be the person to be Mr. Negative
to shit on it.
Yeah, right. Because we got to remember, adding Correa to the lineup is certainly, gonna be an improvement, especially, having that over Giancarlo Stanton. But they're still gonna have, guys down in the rotation. So you're like still gonna be in a position where, what was the point?
What was the point of? I'd rather score more runs than, because Luis Hill will be back in 3 months. It's a lot. He's gonna come back. He's gonna pitch for you this year, if not late. He'll be back. All you want to do is stay afloat until he gets back. If you can outscore the other team till your big boy gets back, then you're in a position where you know what? At the deadline, maybe let's see if something's available for me to go swipe. Right now, it's not about putting the best, it's not about fixing the Gerrit Cole problem. It's about survival until we get to a point where we can try to address it. Right?
See, I'm gonna stick to this unless they actually do it. And I told you this via text, Stefan, and I'm gonna share with everybody here tonight. I just my gut tells me they don't do both.
They can't
Especially
do
how
both.
it needs to be done.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I'd rather have the bat. Right now, I'd rather have the bat. Because if I can outscore you, right? And I can have just enough starting pitching where Luis Hill comes back and you have 3 qualified starters, maybe 4 starters going into the playoffs, that's more than enough. Because you don't pitch 5 guys in October anyway.
But this is so we're speaking from the standpoint of if Cole is out for the season, right?
He is.
At that point,
he is.
We would be looking at Max Fried,
right?
Carlos Rodon, and Luis
right.
Hill. Okay.
I mean, and if a guy like Will Warren steps up and pitches to his capabilities that they believe, not me, but they themselves believe he can pitch to, then you got 4 guys who you can say to yourself, and maybe, yo, I know this is a name that we're going to bring up again, and it's nauseating because we talk about him every show. Maybe Stroman does find his way into this rotation now. Maybe you do need him to give you 25, 30 starts.
Yeah, he's automatically a part of the rotation now.
Right. So what I'm saying is there's enough bodies to cover it. Listen, I know Clark Schmidt's also dealing with a back. He hasn't gotten into spring games yet. Clark Schmidt's another serviceable pitcher. So what does it look like if, hey, this might be, you might have to say your offense might have to take an uptick because the lineup to me is the biggest flaw. I think there's enough pitching in here, both in the rotation and the bullpen, where the offense needs to be upgraded, right? The offense is the thing that when you look at it from this perspective, that needs an upgrade. I don't necessarily believe it's both. I think the offense needs it more than the rotation, and I think the bullpen is okay. The bullpen is fine. You don't need to do nothing there. But you're not going to find anybody that's going to replace or come near Gerrit Cole.
No,
right?
No, of course not. No.
So I'm not even going to go try and look. What I'm going to do is augment it where the offense takes a bigger step forward and allows the pitching to catch up to it. You understand? Mm-hmm. Where if I could get a Correa, if I could get somebody via trade, maybe that doesn't want to be in their current situation, by the time we get to, July, I might do that. But I don't necessarily know because right after the Gerrit Cole injury news came out, somebody with the Yankees talked to Bill Madden of the New York Post, and he said Bill Madden reported that the Yankees are looking for a bat. So if this is indeed the case, then the Yankees knew, number one, that Gerrit Cole was going to deal with something because the elbow it's not foreign. This is not news to them. I understand that Gerrit Cole came in and he said he felt fine. He felt great. All that is true. However, if you think like I think, the bottom is always one pitch of going out. The bottom was going to fall out eventually. You had to know that this was a thing. And so with that being the case, I want the bat over the pitching because I don't have nothing to replace Gerrit Cole with, right? It's like what the Knicks are dealing with Jalen Brunson right now. There's no point guard that's going to fix this. Jalen Brunson is my Gerrit Cole, right?
I don't know.
There's nobody in the league right now that I can get with 20 games left that's going to augment whatever he gave me. So now I got to hope and pray that the people that are on the bench can do the job till he gets back. It's about holding the fort down till he gets back. Now, Gerrit Cole, even if he comes back, you're looking at 2026, right? which is why I was of the opinion, yo, go get Corbin Burns anyway. Even if it seems like it's too much, go get him anyway. Because you always got to be
So
prepared.
you would have preferred Corbin Burns over Max Fried because both would have been insane.
Why not go get both? You're the New York Yankees. You made the money.
All right.
You made the money, and you knew that this was a possibility. It's not like they didn't know, bro. He didn't pitch last year till June 19th.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
What are we talking about? We didn't, and all of a sudden we want to act like we didn't know that this was a thing. Really?
So
Okay.
I'm not surprised at the fact that he still has an elbow problem. What I'm surprised at, and in a way I should not have been, but what I am surprised is the fact that he could be out for the whole season. Because
I'm
had it
not.
been something where, let's say he's out again till like June, July, August, the latest, let's say, I could have been able to swallow that as a fan, right? But at the same time, it's also in a way no surprise though, because it could have happened at any
It's
given moment. It
it's
just
part
happens that it's now.
it's part of the job, bro. He's been throwing 200 innings for the majority of his career. He's been doing this a long time. At
Right.
some point, the human body, and he throws really hard. 98, 99 when he's up, when he's feeling good, he can get up to 99, 100 if he really feels himself, you know. And Garrett is the type that he's nasty. All speed pitches, breaking balls, change up. You put a lot of stress on the elbow joint when you're trying to do what he does on a start to start basis. It's not easy. And so to say that I didn't see this coming, right? You could have easily said you saw this coming. And the only reason why I don't think they do anything about it last year, because if you want to get technical, he was pitching for a contract. He was pitching to make sure, they're gonna re-up me. If I opt out, I at least want to know I got money coming in. So if I do miss the next season, I'm still getting paid. There's no way he's having Tommy John with a free agent with his free agency possibly looming. Hell no. Yo, elbow my elbow together with scotch tape, put glue on that motherfucker. Let's get it going, man.
You know what you got me thinking of now? And I don't want to make this point too long because I still want to get into the Mets and whatnot before we leave. But
For sure.
I wonder if Gerrit Cole himself just knew, right? From the moment the elbow started to bark last season and he came at the point that he did. And maybe what if he knew, listen, I already know this is going to, happen
Require
again at
surgery
some
at some
point.
point.
Well,
Yep.
surgery, yes. But just IL stint is what I mean, right? In general.
For sure.
I wonder if he said, listen, let me see what I could do in terms of how it feels
Pitching
right
through it.
now. Just
Right.
go all out. And best case scenario was, I think, what happened. I mean, they didn't win. That's the ultimate goal as a team.
But they got
but
to the
for
series,
him
though.
was making it to the World Series and playing a big part in helping the team get to that
Get
point,
there.
knowing that after that last pitch
My
you threw,
shit is shot.
yes,
My
yes,
shit is shot. Yeah.
right.
Of course. Any athlete would try to pitch through, play through. You know what I'm saying? Look at OG Anunoby last year in the playoffs. Not to keep making Nick points, but we in New York, so fuck it. OG knew he couldn't move in game 7, right? But it's game 7. It's when I go home. I can't move, but let me get out there for the boys and at least show them, you know what? I want to be out here. You know what the Knicks did? They re-upped him. They said, here's 5 years, $212 million. Good looking on that.
Yeah, he got paid well.
You know what I mean? I think the Yankees might have did the same thing. Garrett, we know the elbow shot. We know you're hurting. We know we probably shooting you up with pain relievers, massaging the elbow after every start, probably killing him. So the Yankees did him a favor. You pitch for us, we'll take care of you on the back end. Don't opt out. We got you. Come on back. You scratch my back, I scratch yours type of situation.
Well, they're gonna continue to scratch each other's backs, that's for sure.
Well, somebody's back is already scratched off. They're fucked.
Right.
Speaking of being messed up and injuries and all that, my heart breaks for this young brother. My heart is absolutely broken. I don't care if you're a Met fan, if you're a Yankee fan. to hear the news of Francisco Alvarez needing another hand surgery, because last year was a thumb. This now it's the hamate bone in the hand. I am heartbroken for this brother. 23 years old, shows flashes of a monster he can be, and he's getting better behind the plate as well. I'm being serious, bro. My heart is broken for this young brother.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
unfortunate. I
what?
actually had high hopes for him going into
You know what I mean?
2025,
Oh, but
especially with
he'll
the veteran presence that's in
yeah,
there
man,
and the
yeah.
protection that he would have been able to have. Like, outside of Juan Soto,
Soto,
there's some other guys,
Alonso,
that he could learn a
Lindor.
thing or two from.
Yeah, people are like, oh, but he's gonna be back in 8 weeks. What does it matter? My heart still breaks for this young brother. My heart is broken
Yeah, so I
for
do
this
see
young
it like
man.
that too. Like the 8 weeks is not all that bad. What's to say here? Yeah, right. Shout out to you, Leo.
Mm-hmm. For
Nice to
sure.
have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see it that way, Stefan. Like, while I was, hoping that this
Mm.
would be the season where we're like, holy cow, he has really arrived.
He arrived.
'Cause
He's on the scene
we've
now.
seen what he could do, right?
Yeah.
But I
Mm-hmm.
think this year would have been special. And not that it can't be moving forward. He's still
No.
fairly young.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's only for the time that it'll be for, because he could still play a huge role for the Mets.
No, he's gonna play a huge role for them this year. But
Yeah.
and then you know what sucks is you look at the pitchers. They're down 2 pitchers. Now you're down your starting catcher. Like, it's gonna be, now you got to learn. Now that catcher has to learn the staff on the fly, right? You got to hope that you get through the first couple months above 500 or at 500 while you wait for your reinforcements to come back. And then the thing with this is you don't want him to rush back too fast, because then he feels like, yo, we're not getting no production from the catching spot. I got to come back. They need me. We look like absolute garbage out there. That's the one thing you don't want him to do. You want him to take his time and be like, young fella, don't worry. We got you. We'll get you through this. But and he was so good last year behind the plate, catching. The catchers love throwing to him. His pitch framing got better. I'm just devastated for this young brother, man. And I'm devastated for the Mets, because let me tell you something right now. I don't care if he's hitting 7th. That's a nice 7-hole hitter to have. This guy, you could look at his numbers and go, yo, he's hitting in the 7-hole, but he might hit 25, 28 homers, driving 85 runs,
Right.
270 batting average. That's a nice 7-hole hitter. Most people will be dying for a 7-hole hitter that produces at that clip. So again, when I read this news, man, my heart stopped. I'm devastated for this young brother, and I'm devastated for the Mets too, because honestly, not to tip my hand, but I'm kind of hoping for a Mets Dodgers NLCS rematch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not expecting. I would either want a Mets Dodgers rematch, or I'd love to see the Padres and the Dodgers go head to head in the NLCS.
See, I don't want anywhere near the Padres. Give me the Diamondbacks. Let me see that pitching versus that lineup, and let's see who wins.
That's a good point. Arizona too. Damn, man. So maybe I would like to see that too. Yeah. But if I had to, make this be like 1, 2, 3, I got
the Mets, Dodgers. Yeah. And then the thing is, like, even if whatever catcher you bring up, like whoever catches on opening day is not going to replicate what this young man.
I think it's Torrens, right? Was it Luis Torrens? Is his name?
Luis Torrens, and then they got other options. I wonder if they do this just for a veteran presence. Go sign Yasmani Grandal. Go sign him for like a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? Just have a veteran presence back there behind the bench.
That would be nice.
So when Alvarez does come back, you can ease him in. Like, I got Grandal back there. I got Torrens back there. You could play a couple games at DH.
The good thing with Grandal, too, is, if he runs into one, it's gone.
Yeah, he's going to hit that shit all the way to the Flushing Bay.
That's right. All he could pretty much offer these days. But, I mean, listen, it'll work out in the meantime.
It's better than nothing. Listen, I would sign Grandal if I was the Mets just for an insurance policy. But, I'm heartbroken for this young brother, because here's the thing. And you got to hope that those 2 pitchers come back healthy, Manaea more so than Montas.
Right.
But you got to hope that you're going to get some level semblance of health, because
You know, I hate to say this,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a very different scenario last season. I would say, other than like
Right.
the Kodai Senga injury
Right.
to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
But we know the rough start that the Mets got off to in 2024, and obviously,
Oh,
you know, they found it
right.
later rather than sooner. But ultimately,
Yeah.
it worked out, and that's why they went on that amazing run.
Yeah.
But now in 2025, we're talking
You're gonna
about
have to.
two of your starters, as you mentioned, your
You're
starting
starting
catcher.
catcher, right?
It would not surprise me, and I don't want this to happen, right? If you're a Mets fan and you're listening, I'm sorry, but I just would not be surprised if they got off to a rough start yet again this season.
And I'm gonna say something right now. I think the Francisco Alvarez's injury is more significant than the Gerrit Cole injury for the Yankees.
That's interesting. I feel like a lot of people, not me, but I think a lot of people will probably disagree because of the names itself.
Yeah,
But
but
let's see. I want to see where you're going.
the catcher is the most important position on the field.
Yeah, yeah.
He catches the pitchers, he gets them through starts, he gets them through games, he knows your relievers. He literally does everything on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a hit too. It's not like Alvarez is a bum behind the plate. You need this guy's bat in the lineup. The Yankees can stomach life without Gerrit Cole. We got Hill coming back. We got Fried here. We got Rendon. Rodon here. We got weapons. Take Alvarez off the Mets. That changes that team completely. It does. Catcher is the most unappreciated position in baseball. You're gonna feel the Francisco Alvarez injury 10 times more than the Yankees are gonna feel this Gerrit Cole injury. I guarantee.
So then that means what I said might actually be true. Could happen.
I guarantee you. And that's why, to me, if I always say this, if you got your starting catcher intact, you can get through a season all right. You can get through, you can find a way to get through a season. When did the Mets take a tailspin last year? When Alvarez broke his thumb and missed 6 weeks. Remember that? When they were absolute hot garbage and they were 11 games under 500, when did they start finding it again? When he got back, when he got healthy, when he got right, when you got in the rhythm and you started to catch the guys consistently and go, all right, this is where you like to go in this spot. Okay, let's get you here. You know what I'm saying? What people, like you said, people look at the names. How can you say that Cole's not as important as Alvarez or more important than
Yeah.
Alvarez?
Like I already know what people are thinking without them actually saying.
But when you look at the positions they play on paper, Alvarez is way more vital to the Mets than Cole is to the Yankees. Because Cole's pitching every 5 days. Alvarez is in the lineup every day. He's behind the plate 140, 145 times a season. Like, he's behind the plate almost every day. Like that, the value should not be able to be compared. I've been told you guys this. Catcher, center field, shortstop. 3 most important positions on the field. That's it. You know why the Yankees are going to be able to stay afloat? Because look at the 3 positions. They got the catcher, they got the shortstop, and they know who the center fielder is this year. They're going to be okay. The Gerrit Cole injury is not the end of the world.
All right. I want to make sure I remember this because, you know, it's still early in the year, but a lot of things could happen between now and October, right?
Yeah.
So
Now, if the Yankees lose Austin Wells, that changes the way I look at this team. Like, you could lose a Stanton. You could lose, no, I don't know. You could lose anybody else. You can't lose Austin Wells. You can't. Because now there's no Trevino to back him up. Trevino's in Cincinnati now.
right.
Different ballgame. Speaking of different, it's a short show. We out of here, y'all.
That's true. Yeah, today was a short show for sure, guys. Because just a quick recap. You know, this is I said it at the top of tonight's show, but third show and within the week, but rightfully so. You know, we had to hit the mics. But you know, listen, short is better than nothing, I would say. Speaking of shorts, continue to, you know, hit the thumbs up when it comes to any of our content that you watch, whether it be a live stream such as this one. Speaking of that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new and you're watching right now.
For sure.
But yeah, shorts will continue to go out, on off days. And let's see what happens because, we might actually have to be right back here in the next couple of days. So we'll see what happens.
For sure, man. But little app, we'll wet the appetite a little bit, little appetizer show on a Sunday. Ain't nothing really going on, so we figured we hit the mics for you guys. But this is cool. Anyway, guys, keep watching those shorts, keep rocking with us, and the NL West is next on tap. So we'll see you guys soon. And if we find out what's up with Gerrit Cole, we'll be right back here in these chairs to figure it all out. What does it mean? Don't worry, Yankee fans. This is a place you can vent. This is a safe space. We will not kill you. We will vent with you. It's all right. All right. So till that time comes, we ain't got to go home, but we got to get the hell up out of here. Peace.